Hey everybody, we're starting a new project this week. Hope everybody enjoyed the week off last week. I figured you guys earned it and give you guys a break because we're getting towards the end of the year. So back to our project. This is a brand new one. It's called the 3D Aquarium, and we're going to be using 1 point perspective for this one. Now, we did 1 point perspective a while back with the squares and the shapes, and we drew the lines back to one dot. So we're going to be doing like a picture, a scene with this one that makes a little bit more sense. And we don't have many more projects left to go. This project could be done in 1 week with the drawing and the coloring, but that's just too much. The drawing itself should take long enough. So we'll do it in 2 parts, space this thing out a little bit. But we've only realistically got just a few, I think 4 more projects to go, including this one. So we're almost getting to the end here, friends. So let's get this thing going. So what you're going to need first is you're going to need a nice clean sheet of white paper. Mine is 12 inches by 9 inches, but yours might be computer paper, which is 8.5 by 11, and that's fine. You just want a sheet of paper with no lines on it. Since we're drawing a lot of lines in this, if you have lined paper on this, it's going to look quite confusing. So don't use lined paper. Get a piece of computer paper. It's much, much, much better. You're going to need a ruler. If you have a straight edge, that's okay, but I'm going to be doing a couple of measurements, though, on one location in my work. So I want to make sure I have a ruler that's actually got the inches on one side. You're going to need a nice pencil to go, and an eraser as well, just in case. And then I'm going to be using a Sharpie to outline some parts here. So I might skip part of the Sharpie on this, but you can see in my drawing in the example where I use the Sharpie, because I just want the lines to be easier seen. Now, much like anything else, draw really light. The pencil lines don't like to go away too much if you draw very heavy. I've mentioned this many times before, so make sure you draw light. So here we go. We want our paper landscape. You want it wider than it is tall, so make sure it's wide. And then what you want to do is you want to guess where the middle is, or if you're really feeling feisty and you want to know where it is, you can measure across the bottom of the paper and the edge of the paper. And if this is 12 inches, you divide it by 2, so it's 6 inches. And this is 9 here, so it'd be 4.5. So wherever 6 and 4.5 go, that's where they would meet, and that would be the center. For us, if you don't want to measure, I'm just going to guess. All right? Now, that's my center point, my vanishing point. My lines are going to go back to that, and I want to keep that up there. All right, so now I'm going to go from each corner of my paper back to the center. So I'm going to tilt my paper a little bit, get my ruler on the edge between the dot. Now, if you really wanted to as well, you could go all the way through your paper. You could go corner to corner to find the center. I suppose that would have been an easier way to do this. Let's see if I guessed right. If you go corner to corner, the only problem is my paper is a little bit too long for this. See, my ruler doesn't fit. So I was actually pretty close to guessing the exact center. Pretty close. Pretty close. See, if you just drew with the straight edge and drew corner to corner and then put a dot in the middle where they met, that would be that'd be the center point. Okay, so now this is going to be our aquarium, and what it's going to look like is we're looking down a hallway. So we're going to have glass here, and a floor down here, so you can already start to picture it. Now, what I want to do, though, is I want to start building this hallway so it makes a little bit more sense. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to start by putting a little like railing right along. Actually, no, I'm going to skip that first. I'm going to build a little door that's back here, like a little doorway, like a small doorway. Like you're walking down the hall, and in order to get to the next section of the aquarium, you have to open up these double doors, and you walk through the next section. So in order to draw my doorway, my double doors, which is basically going to be a rectangle, I got to make sure my ruler is straight up and down, and then at a certain point, between these two lines right here, you just connect them. Now what I want to draw is a straight line going across this way. Here's the top of my door, straight from right here to where it hits this line over there. And stop. Come down here and do the same thing. Here's the bottom of my door. Stop. See, as I can tell, my doorway is going to be a little bit off right there, and that'll be okay as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to readjust my door. As you can see, look, it's not lining up right there. That'll be okay. I'm going to fix the floor. Actually, I'm going to erase this whole entire square that's inside, this X that's inside of the square right there. Get rid of that. And then reline up my door as best as I can. It's okay if your door is a little bit, your doorway is a little slanted. It's all right, just do the best you can with what you got. Okay? So there's my doorway. And I'll draw in the little details later. So here's the floor, walls, here's the ceiling. We're going to make this glass. So now I want to draw like a little railing that's right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a point at the door. Now remember, the door is further away. So I'm going to pick a little point right there. Pick a little point right there. Right across from each other. Now you can see where my original dot was, right in the middle. Now I'm going to connect this dot to this one. Except I'm only going to draw right there. So there's like a little railing. And we're going to add in some more details in here as we go. So don't worry about trying to make sense out of the whole picture just yet. Put the dot and the dot together. There we go. Now this is going to be like a little skinny railing leading up to the doorway. So now my railing itself, it's actually wide, like you can grab a hold of it. So here's one. I'm going to put my ruler down just a little bit. As you can see, that's like a little railing right there. I'm going to put another one right here on the other side. There's my railing. Okay, so this is glass, 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 floor. There's a railing right there. Now, my paper is 12 inches across, so this is where measuring is going to come in key. I want to make it look like this is some sort of like board or tile floor. So with my ruler, I'm going to put 0 on the end, and I'm going to mark off every 2 inches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, now from those little tally marks that I made with my right next to them with the ruler, I'm going to line up the tally with the center, except I'm only drawing on the floor. I'm going to stop at the doorway. I'm going to stop. Now this is the floor, and it gets skinnier as you go, because as you go further away from yourself, objects are going to get smaller. Line up the dot with the tally. Line up the dot with the tally. There we go. Now there's just a lot of lines in here so far. Okay? So now I'm going to make this look like a wooden floor. So now this isn't my floor right here. This isn't my floor right here. These parts are, so you might get a little lost. So now what I'm going to do is underneath the railing to this line and then to this line over here, I'm just going to draw some straight lines from the railing to this line right there to let me know this is a wall. Now what I should be doing is starting back here, these should be wide, and then they should start getting skinnier and skinnier and closer as you go down the hallway. Like that. Close and far away. I'm going to do the same thing over here. A little bit close. And then as you get down to the edge of the paper, I'm going to leave a little bit more space. And there I go. So you can see floor, and this is a wall. So now I'm gonna put some lines, like make it look like a wooden floor with like boards. So on my ruler going straight across, I'm just gonna draw like one here, and then one there, and then I'm gonna make it look like it's like staggered boards, so that they're not all right next to each other. The key thing is since this is my floor, I want these lines to be straight, horizontal. And that's what I want. So this is a lot to draw in here, and I might make it look quite simple. But you can look at my design in the document as well and see what lines need to go where. But this video, remember to start and stop and pause and play when you need to. I really encourage that because some of you guys don't watch it at all, and then I send it back and you guys are confused about what you did wrong. Well, when you're not watching the video, it's quite easy to not understand when you don't know what you're supposed to do in the first place. Okay, so there's my floor. There's a wall. There's a railing. Now this is glass up here and this is glass there. These are the last two spots that we can do because they're easy. Now this is my door. So you got to figure out what do you want for a door. It's a double hinge door, a big double heavy door. So I'm going to put like a divider in the middle. So there's one door and another door. And then I'm going to put a window in here. So I'm just going to basically just put a small rectangle. But I like to use my ruler just to make sure that I get my lines nice and even. There's one. Here's the other window for the other door. There we go. I went over just a little bit, and that's okay. I can clean that up and erase it. I just want to go through quickly. So now it actually looks like there's two doors. I'm walking down the hallway. Walls, railing, glass, glass. Okay. Now this isn't just one giant sheet of glass. I'm going to put a little line here for divider. I'm going to put two lines. Two going straight up here and two going straight up there. Okay. So I'm going to start by putting one closer and another one right here away from the door. Now if I really want to be picky, I can measure where that is, and that's about 15/16 of an inch. That's a little detailed for you guys. But what I want is where I want to draw the line on this side, it's the same distance right here. So if I'd like to, if I know, oh, it's this measurement, it's 1 inch. Okay, and then just put a little line and just make sure that you draw it straight up. Because what we put on one side, we kind of want to design to put on the other. So I'm going to measure the distance between this line and this line. See, mine is 2 3/8. Yours could be 2 inches, whatever it might be. So now I just mark off 2 3/8 inches, put a little mark right there. Try to draw a line straight up as best as I can. There we go. So it's like a big panel of glass, big panel of glass, big panel of glass right there. Now for the ceiling, I want to make it look like the aquarium we can look up above. So I'm going to draw a nice easy curve from this side to this side and then from here to this one. So nice and light. Like that. And then from this one to this one. There we go. Now we're not adding color into this yet. So what you can see is in the document, I'm going to show you this, but this is all glass. The ceiling is all glass. This part right here is all glass. So now this is an aquarium. So you can start drawing things that would be an aquarium, like an octopus, a shark, sailfish, an eel, whatever that you might want to find, in the aquarium that you'd want to go. This is where instead of just drawing random fish, if you really want a specific one, go onto Google and look it up, and then just draw it. Draw it here. I don't know exactly how to be able to draw certain types of fish or whales or things like that, but up here, let's say I want to draw like an eel. Draw an eel like slithering. So I'm going to put one, actually I'm going to put it right here in the window. Right here. All right, so an eel is kind of like a flat, and he's really bendy, so I'm going to make him like a ribbon. Like a ribbon eel, because those actually do exist. Like so. There's his eye. And I would draw it in a little bit better, but that's pretty good for right now. There we go. He's kind of twisting through the water. All right, and just draw it in lightly. Now, if I wanted to take my Sharpie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Sharpie along these lines right here, where the glass is separated. And then along these lines right here. Only in the glass is where I want to do the Sharpie. And the reason why I'm kind of doing that is so to avoid confusion about what's glass, what's wall, and what's floor. Because you got a lot of lines going on in here. So I want to be able to make sure that there's no confusion. So the Sharpie is kind of just marking off where the water, glass, whatever would be. and where your sea creatures are going to be as well. And there we go. Get these two lines up above, nice and easy. And remember, if you've got a black marker, if you don't have a Sharpie, just grab a black Crayola marker, whatever marker that you have. If you don't have any black marker anymore, use a black colored pencil. So I just drew my one creature there. I'm going to try to put like a bunch in every window. Now remember, when we get to coloring this, you're going to have to color the whole picture. So you don't need to fill in everything up, you know, put tons and tons and tons of like creatures in here. So this is it for part one. So I hope that everybody can see. There's the floor. There's like the little bit of a wall underneath. Here's the glass. Here's the glass. There's the door. So it looks like we're walking down a hallway in an aquarium. We're going to keep walking through so we can see. All right, friends? This is part one. No coloring for this part, so just do as best as you can. Have fun. Find some sea creatures. Draw them. Find them on Google. Try to draw them as best as you can. But remember, it's only drawing, a little bit of Sharpie, and then save this for the next time, and we're going to do the color. All right? So good luck with this. I have my picture in the document, so if you want to look at that for help, please do so. I think everything should work out just fine. Just do your best, and make sure that you use a ruler to draw the straight lines where they need to meet at that one middle dot as best as you can. All right? Don't be afraid to ask for help on this either. I'm sure that your parents, big brother, big sister might be able to help you out too. All right? Good luck, have fun, and we'll talk to you guys next week.